Because of our inability to remember, do consider taking notes on the parts of the video you deem more important. This channel will never be monetized, as this channel is only for educational purposes. I recommend that you start watching these 3 videos first, before watching any recent videos released. Then you would better learn and understand what has happened, and why I am revealing all of this information to you. Please consider watching my other videos as well. They have valuable information that can help you understand. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment sections. I will do my best to read everything. My memory is locked and I am no longer allowed to review my past in any way. Without the ability to look back, objectively, I am not able to give you any information that can be useful to you on my own independently. The entity struggles with me. It doesn't want to work with me to inform you of what you are. This is because of myself rejecting the information the entity is trying to give to you through me. I don't trust this entity, I don't believe the entity, and I don't want anything to do with the entity. This is why I post irregularly, because it doesn't want to give me the full picture of anything worth informing you about, and it always tries to humiliate me before giving me any information. Its treatment of me in communication reminds me of what the entity does in Hollywood with its human business practices. Chess, from this point on you must not expect any videos at a regular interval. They may happen once a week, once a month, or even just a few videos a year. It is actively trying to change me for the worse. Constantly, it harasses me and humiliates me to try to manipulate me into taking information that it tries to force on me. I never agreed to it, I don't want or care for it, and I never will. It needs me to inform you guys, and I want to inform you of what is happening as well, but the way of informing you won't work the way the entity wants it. The entity is looking for ways to use me to deceive you. Any information you get from me can and should be traced, or observed in some way. I will not give you abstract information that holds no substance, but the entity would like information that is loose for the purpose of the entity getting a foot inside of your mind, so that it can take hold of you and manipulate you for their purposes. Based on history, this entity is cruel, perverse, and pure evil. The entity cannot be trusted in any way. The entity insists on wanting to manipulate me to believe that it has leverage on me, so that it can blackmail me, but everything it communicates are lies. Everything must be on my terms, and it knows it. It needs me to give you the information, but it twists everything around to make it look like I need to give you this information. I cannot stress enough the attempts of the entity to manipulate, but it can't manipulate me if I know that every action and feeling I get comes from the entity. The Bible describes our bodies as temples that we carefully take care of. But if the body was your temple, you could freely leave it and do whatever you want inside of it. But our bodies aren't temples, they are evil prisons designed to keep you ignorant of what you are, and our bodies have limited capabilities based on the information you receive, and information only from this entity. I want to tell you everything, but I am not able to because of the prison I am confined in, and with the poisonous information the entity is now trying to feed me. I just discard most of the information I get every day. This entity has screwed up royally, because I will not feed you with information that is false and damaging to your beings. It wants to poison your minds for whatever business empire this system we live in is, and the preservation of it. But because the entity is unable to poison you anymore, because of me, it still tries to turn everything back so that the information I release will be considered nonsense. Once my transformation happened a few years ago, this entity started to accelerate the degradation of my physical body. The entity started to do things like, for example, decay my teeth, and my hair suddenly starting to change overnight. This entity especially damages my teeth. It picks on my teeth to cause extremely uncomfortable pains almost constantly. The entity physically hurts me when I walk or exercise, by causing pain and aches in my legs, knees, and feet. I have constant headaches, and they are hurting my body in unnatural ways, like making me bigger, fatter than I am supposed to be by blowing my stomach up like a balloon. They dry up my insides so that I need to hydrate constantly as well. All these sufferings happen through higher dimensional manipulation. If you know anything about how different dimensions work in terms of the laws and the possibilities that come with them, then you have some idea of how things can work. Everything is deception, and these bodies have been created by extremely sophisticated beings to manipulate us as what seems to be AI-like beings. I have a completely different mind than everybody else because of my special abuse and neglect, physically and mentally. Believe it or not, everything has to do with me being black. If I wasn't made black and formed mentally the way I have been through my childhood to the present, this would have never happened, and our human race would have never discovered this unimaginable evil. Because of the mistakes made by the entity has told me and revealed to me things that go with the information, for my own confirmation. The entity has been forced to do so because of what I have become and the threat that comes with my being. The entity is intentionally creating racism in the minds of people. Everything people feel, think, and act is information put into them by this entity. Because I am black, I have information mostly about the history of black people and how they have been abused since the beginning of creation. No race here on Earth is inherently evil, but the entity has planned and maneuvered everything on Earth from the beginning, hence humanity's extremely difficult and evil history. What I share is from my perspective as a black person. What you, the viewer, whatever race you are, the experience and knowledge you possess, I suspect with certainty has a unique evil affliction tied unto you based on your origin. If you live on planet Earth, as whatever creature you are, human or animal alike, you have been wronged by the simple term of existence. No matter who you are, or what kind of position in society you hold, you are suffering and are headed for a terrible fate. I, as a black person, have learned that the continent of Africa has been given away to the other nations by the entity. The Creator of mankind has made black people suffer the same fate of the people surrounding Israel in the Bible, but planned in a permanent state compared to what has been recorded. In the book of Deuteronomy, Israel is promised conquests of the lands of Canaan, which were inhabited by various nations at the time. These conquests are presented as part of God's covenant with the Israelites, fulfilling the promise made to their ancestors. The book of Joshua recounts the fulfillment of these promises through military campaigns led by Joshua after the death of Moses. These conquests include the capture of Jericho, Ai, and other cities, as well as battles against kings and nations in the region. The conquest of Canaan is depicted as a central event in Israelite history, establishing them as the rightful inhabitants of the Promised Land. Everything has been orchestrated by the entity who promised the Israelites riches that they didn't have to work for, as long as they believed and kept the laws. Obviously, their unbelief and the consequences that followed was also under the entity's control, as the people themselves were, as ourselves, not able to produce thoughts or make actions on their own. To this day, the continent of Africa is occupied by foreign powers exploiting its resources, while the people of Africa have been forced and spread across the planet pursuing riches and better lives elsewhere, with a few remaining in what was supposed to be their home in Africa. Throughout history, Africa and its people have been invaded, mutilated, and brought to other countries. The black people of America have especially been hated upon and mistreated. The people who have enslaved black people and suppressed them have put great efforts into destroying black families by engineering systems that keep fathers away, poisoning the youth, and keeping black people poor and clueless of how the financial system works. This has been done on purpose by the entity to create a people of cheap labor, consumers, and gifted entertainers for the masses. Black people are humiliated in a unique way when it comes to climbing the financial ladder. Black people have not been allowed to hold knowledge over generations like the other races, or to simply manage themselves properly. If black people held any knowledge or skill, like the past mathematicians of Africa, then they only got destroyed and hidden by the other races. This is an extreme evil done by the Creator, with no chance for the black people to recover. Black people have been set up intentionally by the entity, and humanity was never supposed to know of the great injustice brought upon them. It is important to note that the people of Europe and America are not the evil culprits behind the planning of these great evils, they simply have been manipulated to cause black people great suffering. Everything is the entity's doing, controlling the whole planet's ecosystem, humans included. When you recognize this information, you will also uncover how all races are exploited and abused in different ways by something that possibly isn't human at all. How people perceive and treat each other is not up to the people. Perception is shaped and manipulated by the entity, and everything is done on purpose by something far larger.